One Piece, the most famous manga in the world, known far and wide as the pinnacle of the genre, if not the medium. At this point, Eiichiro Oda has spent over half his life and a quarter of a century perfecting his craft, tightening the narrative, and patiently and diligently setting up all the right story beats for them to be paid off at all the right times. But despite what the memes might lead you to believe, Eiichiro Oda is a human. And, well, humans make mistakes. In art, if you make a mistake, it can be seen as one of a few charming little imperfections or happy little accidents. In normal human interaction, a mistake can simply be laughed off and forgotten about by the end of the conversation. But when you make a mistake as a writer, it manifests itself in a much uglier way. A mistake in your writing will instantly be picked up on by all, and in the best case scenario, can be overlooked as long as it doesn't have much influence on the work as a whole. In the worst case scenario, a mistake can ruin your work entirely, recontextualizing what was originally going to be a brilliant masterwork of fictional creation into a messy, incomprehensible jumble of something that, despite its best efforts to be something, ends up diluting down into nothing. The most significant thing about your mistakes in writing, regardless of how insignificant it might be, is that people are going to want to go through and scrutinize every single one of them. Something just drives people to comb through fictional stories, regardless of the medium, and search for every single imperfection that there exists within it. What is it that makes people want to do this? Is it their desire to feel more intelligent or like a better writer than the writers? Whatever the reason, I'm here to do that, since it seems that all everyone wants to do is sing the praises of this supposed best-selling manga of all time. The latest One Piece chapters have been really blasting the manga's popularity into the outer reaches of the atmosphere, and many are convinced that after a certain reveal, Oda can do absolutely no wrong. But is that really true? I guess it's about time to find out. So without further ado, here is the comprehensive list of plot holes in One Piece.
Fly away.
Hello, you've reached a secret part of the video where Smizzle just talks about other things, and in this portion, we'll be talking about videos that never really went anywhere, or video ideas that never really went anywhere. For one, I was going to do a video specifically about Red Hood getting canceled and this sort of conspiracy theory that I had around why I think it might have gotten canceled, and why I thought that maybe the reason it got canceled was due to other things than just sales and such. But that never happened, just because it seemed pretty likely that the reason for it getting canceled was because of pretty poor sales and a real waning in popularity since the first chapter or so. But yeah, and I thought that a video that's more general, that's more about generally getting mangas generally getting canceled would also do better, have like more staying power. It'd be more timeless, so that people could look upon it, years and years in the future. And in fact, with that one, I actually have multiple thumbnails that I might change out with different series that might get canceled later. But anyway, one video I was thinking of making, which I might still make, but it'd have to be a little bit further down the line, would be a video that I tentatively titled "Read Invincible, Stupid Ass Nigga." And the video would be about me just really telling people to read Invincible. The show, it's really good, but the comic, it's also really good in a lot of different and interesting ways. And I think that the best way to enjoy the franchise of Invincible or whatever is to definitely read the comic. I think some of the worst things about the Invincible show, namely Amber, are better in the comics. And Amber was a character that was kind of overhauled completely, but I guess you could say that like Amber's original character is kind of like it seemed a little bit too damsel in distress type for people's likings, but like I think it was done in like a very like she wasn't just a damsel in distress. Like she had like actual like feelings and such, like a real believable feelings, as a as like real believable, like. But I can see why she was also changed. You want it, if you want her to be more like an active, character or whatever, then yeah, it would make a lot of sense to change her up a whole lot, right? But yeah, but also what everybody knows the thing about Amber. People don't like her because she's too perfect. She has no actual like flaws or anything, and she's more like a villain. Which if that was intentional, then that's really cool, actually. So, yeah. I was also thinking of doing a video about a bunch of manga that were canceled in the past and kind of evaluating them, like how bad were they? How bad were they really? And like, or how good were they? Like, so I'll look at ones that like were good, but maybe had something about it that was kind of holding it back, or maybe it was bad, but maybe there was something about it that could have been improved upon. Like I'll take a look at the good and then the bad, and then like things that I would maybe suggest changing if I were to like go back in time and like speak to the author or editor or whatever and talk to them about how we could actually make this manga a real success, But that idea, it'd be a pretty long video, and I feel like I wouldn't want to do it myself. By myself, I would kind of want to do it with multiple people, so we can have like a real back and forth, a podcast type video maybe. But I haven't really come up with, for one thing, no one I've really found is like really too interested in doing that sort of thing. So like I haven't gotten around to like talking to anyone for a collab or anything like that. But yeah, I've also thought about doing a video about writer's block. But here's the thing, I don't know how to get over writer's block either. So yeah, I feel like I'm kind of scrolling through my my Google Docs saved documents profile thing, and I feel like there are a whole lot of videos that like are kind of missing that I feel like should definitely be here. I have like there are other videos that I thought I made outlines and stuff to that I just might not have. Here's another video was titled Keys to a First Good Chapter, like how to make a really good chapter of like a manga or something like that. I would actually look at mangas and like give my idea of what a first good chapter, of what like all these first good chapters have in common or whatnot. Yeah. And let's see. see. I know I have a few more. Oh, there was also this. There was a series in back in the late '60s, I believe, called Yuyake Bancho, and it was essentially like one of the first like real delinquent mangas, as far as I'm aware, and it was about like this boy who was like really kind of nerdy or something at the big. No, either like he was really like he's like a real tough guy during the day, but whenever the sun sets for some reason he becomes like really like feeble and weak, or like the other way around, like he's normally just a really like feeble and weak character, but whenever he sees the sunset, that's what yuyake means, or yuyake, setting sun, but whatever, or evening glow in a literal sense, if I'm not mistaken, but whatever. Whenever he sees the sunset, like he changes, he transforms or whatever. Not like, not like a Incredible Hulk thing, as far as I know. Just like he just becomes a bad boy, or maybe a pussy boy. I don't remember. But yeah, basically, it got an animated adaptation, but essentially, it is the anime is complete lost media. And so I was thinking of doing a video trying to find it, or trying to find what I could about it, something like that. But I mean, I don't know. I might get back around to it. Scrolling through this thing kind of reminds me of all these things that like could probably make for pretty good videos, but I just haven't gotten around to doing them yet. Another video was just kind of asking, why is it that superhero movies don't get more, or not superhero movies, but just comic books in general don't get like faithful animated adaptations in the same way manga do? And I would just kind of go back to, go back through the history of comic book adaptations into other mediums, such as television and film, or television and film most specifically, just to kind of get an idea of why, animation just doesn't seem to be the most viable medium for adapting comics. But like there are comic books, like some really good comic book runs that have like these direct to video releases. Like this happened, Marvel and DC were doing them like from, I want to say like the early 2000s all the way, like DC's still doing them now. Like we have The Long Halloween, which came out recently, Injustice, which came out recently. Like it's interesting, I guess, like to find out like I think it'd be interesting to kind of look that up. I think it would be really cool, to have gotten, I don't know, an actual like televised The Long Halloween, adaptation, and it actually looks like, the comics. That's because, if you've watched my Q&A video or whatever, you would know I love The Long Halloween, and I love the art style and stuff like that. But like, yeah, I never really got around to making that video. There was also a video about Genyaku Seisho, which is the very first Shonen Jump manga with a black protagonist, as far as we know. And yeah, that one, I don't really know why I didn't get through that one, or because it actually is a really interesting story, but or the story about the author and like his craziness is actually really interesting stuff, and I might have to get back to it at some point later. I was also going to make a video about the hottest takes in One Piece, which is, I guess, pretty actually relevant. Let's look through these, why don't we? All right. Okay, so I said one thing I talked about was Thriller Bark and how underrated it is. Thriller Bark's also got, I actually wrote quite a bit of script for here. There's 3 pages worth, or 2 pages, and then like 2 2 little bullet points on the 3rd page, or whatever. I wrote that Thriller Bark's also got the most tragic character in the series, whose backstory has yet to be topped nearly 15 years later. This is me just reading off the script prototype or whatever, the script draft or whatever. At first, you may have thought that I was talking about Brook, but I'm actually talking about Gecko Moria. Years ago, Moria was never Years ago, Moria was no different from anybody else at the beginning of the Great Pirate Era. He was ambitious, he was brave, and he was strong. Let's not forget that he could handle Kaido during the exact same time period that Kaido beat Odin. But this exact clash is what broke him. Kaido mercilessly slaughtered every single member of Moria's crew except himself, thus traumatizing him and skewing his very outlook on crewmates and piracy. Along with his crewmates that day, his ambition died as well. For years, he would stay in the safer half of the Grand Line, a shell of his former self, unable to even avenge his fallen friends. Yeah, like when you actually think about it like that, Moria really is like one of the most tragic characters in One Piece. But yeah, let's see. I also had like a couple of things about how Blackbeard fans are annoying, Zoro fans are annoying, Zoro haters are annoying, all theories / agendas are wrong. These were like little bullet points that I was going to turn into, more things. But yeah, we'll see how this video does. It probably won't do too well. I'm expecting like a decent initial view count, and then like it like takes a really quick dip, because it's the April Fool's joke. Unless I make this part really interesting, or enough people kind of discover this part of the video or whatever. I've also thought about doing like what if stories, like kind of going through like some of my favorite stories and doing like what if this happened or that happened in this manga or that comic or that show or whatever, but for some reason I'm just not that good at coming up with ideas for characters that don't belong to me, characters that I haven't created. Is this really 13 minutes long? Damn, I thought I was gonna like do a second part, and I might, because I was thinking of making this video about 30 minutes long, 30 minutes to an hour, and in that vein, I was also thinking of making just like my actual more serious videos longer, because the iceberg video got a lot more view, and a much higher watch minute time. And I think if I can pump those longer videos out, then I actually could be eligible for monetization, possibly. Let's see. I had a video called Manga That Gets You Off Your Ass. Just mangas that like are very inspirational and very like motivational, Ashita no Joe, Hajime no Ippo, and One Piece were the ones I was going to talk about. Maybe I put some others. I've been told that Holy Land is really good. I haven't really gotten into it though, and that's another thing. A whole lot of manga that I need to get into. I feel that's the thing about life, I guess. You're never gonna read every single manga. You're never gonna read every single one. That it kind of sucks. So you got to read all the ones you can, I guess. And, yeah. I swear I had more videos that like. I had more video ideas that got tossed, but like none of them. A video called "These Manga Will Never Be Animated," and manga with interesting like either content or like backstories that like are just too controversial to get animated. Sometimes like too like the art style is just too out there, and then like there are some where like the rights holders or whatever, it would be like such a weird thing like for the rights holders, like there was a Spider-Man manga back in the early 70s, and it was actually really good in my opinion. Another video called "How to Write a Good One Piece Theory." Now here's one, and yeah, it was really good. The most obscure manga I've come across. I don't remember this one, I don't think. Oh, and a video about a One Piece English dub before 4Kids. Ah, man, wow. Okay. All right. Oh, this one is literally just a this is just the Lost manga video, but like it's a different title. It's a title I didn't I changed the title somewhere during that time. But yeah, a One Piece dub before 4Kids. Let's look through this one. Let's see. This elusive third One Piece dub actually predates both the Funimation and the 4Kids dubs. There are several reasons why you may not have heard of it. For one, it was considered lost media for quite some time, and more importantly, it wasn't actually released in the US or the UK or Canada or actually any major English-speaking country that might come to mind. It was made and distributed for Southeast Asia, so countries like Singapore, Indonesia, Brunei, and the Philippines. You see, long story short, there are lots of different languages spoken in those countries, and English is one of them, and Japanese is not. So sometimes, when English media is brought to these countries, it actually stays untranslated. So some countries founded by English speakers set up shop in Southeast Asia to produce and distribute English translations of media from other languages. Specifically, when there isn't an English translation distributing company delivering to that region already. And that's basically like how the dub came about, you know. So basically there was this company called Odex who saw the opportunity to make money in this little niche of a thing. And there were already multiple countries taking anime and stuff in Japan and distributing it to America and other English speaking countries. So they decided to do that in the underlooked region of English speakers in Southeast Asia. One of the things they did is that like they made Luffy rhyme with Puffy. Zoro's name actually stays the same, and for one thing, like yeah, and also like they do like very interesting things with their the voice actors. They do interesting things. I have this the bullet points include like Zoro's Batman impression. It sounds like the guy who voices Zoro is like trying really hard to sound like Batman for some reason, like a super a super deep voice like this. Scars on the back are a swordsman's shame. That's exactly how it sounds, you know. And Sanji, his voice, he sounds like he's trying too hard not to. I have this written down in the bullet point. Sanji's trying too hard not to be offensive white man voice. Those are all like hyphenated. And he also, instead of saying Nami Swan, he says Nami my dearest and stuff like that. There are also like random characters having accents, like Mihawk. I think Mihawk had like a Slavic accent. Or, you know, that's what it was trying to. I think that's what the voice actor was trying to go for. And Luffy's name. Did I say that already? Luffy's name is actually pronounced Luffy in that dub. But yeah, it was a very cheaply made dub. It's the only official English dub where Luffy's voice is a male actor, and he's not good. Let's be honest. Like, if I'm being completely honest. And also Usopp and Luffy have the same voice actor. Like, it's like a very small staff who made the dub. So like it's a lot of repeating voice actors, including Luffy and Usopp having the same VA. So I'm curious, like, if this dub had continued up to like Water 7, the Luffy and Usopp fight would have literally just been a guy like arguing with himself. That's funny to think about. But yeah, I was gonna do like multiple sections with gaps, but like I feel like I've talked a good amount of time. Actually, no, I wanted to do like 30 minutes. So like, we'll finish. This is the end of the videos that I haven't made section, and tune in later in the video to find the or you know, do some searching to find the next point. I think I'm gonna start reading off some Chinese myths and folk tales. So I have this book of Chinese myths and folk tales, and they have the story of Sun Wukong, and I was thinking of reading that. It's spelled differently for some reason. It's Sun Wukong in this thing, but whatever. They have the story of Sun Wukong, but like I actually looked at it, and it's like over 20 pages long in kind of small, not quite double spaced font. So yeah, I don't want to be here for like 2 hours reading off that. Plus, I don't have any actual water. I have like maybe about a fifth of a water bottle left. And if I want any more, then I'll have to go to the store. So I'm not doing that. Let's just look through this thing, and we'll find like a real short story, and one that's maybe. All right, here's one. Legends of the Gods. Yang. I don't know how to spell this. I don't know how to pronounce this. Oerlang. Oerlang. If someone wants to help me out. But yeah, let's read the story of Yang Oerlang. I believe that's how you spell it. How you pronounce it. Let's see. Give me 1 second, actually. Oh, you know what? Okay. Alright. The second daughter of the ruler of heaven once came down upon the earth and secretly became the wife of a mortal man named Yang. Or is it pronounced Yang? We'll just say Yang. And when she returned to heaven, she was blessed with a son. But the ruler of heaven was very angry at this desecration of the heavenly halls. He banished her to earth and covered her with woody hills. Her son, however, Oerlang by name, the nephew of the ruler of heaven, was extraordinarily gifted by nature. By the time he was full grown, he had learned the magic art of being able to control 8 times 9 transformations. Why don't they just say 72? I don't know. He could make himself invisible, or he could assume the shape of birds and beasts, grasses, flowers, snakes, and fishes as he chose. He also knew how to empty out seas and remove mountains from one place to another. So he went into the Wui Hills and rescued his mother, whom he took on his back and carried away. They stopped to rest on a flat ledge of rock. Then the mother said, "I am very thirsty." And so is the narrator, Smizzle. Give me 1 second. I can only take like quick swigs of this at a time because there's not very much left. Oerlang climbed down into the valley in order to fetch her water, but some time passed before he returned. When he did, his mother was no longer there. He searched eagerly, but on the rock lay only her skin and bones and a few blood stains. Now you must know that at the time there were still 10 suns in the heavens, glowing and burning like fire. The daughter of heaven, it is true, was divine by nature, yet because she had incurred the wrath of her father and had been banished to earth, her magic powers had failed her. Then, too, she had been imprisoned so long beneath the hills in the dark that, coming out so suddenly into the light, she had been devoured by its blinding radiance. That's tough. When Oerlang thought of his mother's sad end, his heart ached. He took 2 mountains on his shoulders, pursued the suns, and crushed them to death between the mountains. And whenever he had crushed another sun disk, he picked up a fresh mountain. And in this way, he had slain 9 of the 10 suns, but there was just one left. And as Oerlang pursued him relentlessly, he hid himself in the distress beneath the leaves in the portulaca plant. But there was a rainworm close by who betrayed his hiding place and kept repeating, "There he is! There he is!" Oolong was about to seize him when a messenger from the ruler of heaven suddenly descended from the skies with a command. Sky, air, and earth need the sunshine. You must allow this one sun to live, so that all created beings may live. Yet, because you rescued your mother, showed yourself to be a good son, you shall be a god, and my bodyguard in the highest heaven, and shall rule over good and evil in the mortal world, and have power over devils and demons. When Oolong received this command, he ascended into heaven. Then the sun disk came out again from beneath the portulaca leaves, and out of gratitude, since the plant had saved him, he bestowed upon it the gift. Of a free blooming nature, and ordained that it never need fear the sunshine. So to this very day, one may see on the lower side of the portulaca leaves quite delicate little white pearls. They were the sunshine that remained hanging to the leaves when the sun hid under them. But the sun pursues the rainworm when he ventures forth out of the ground and dries him up as a punishment for his treachery. Since that time, Yang Oolong has been honored as a god. He has oblique, sharply marked eyebrows and holds a double-bladed, three-pointed sword in his hand. 2 servants stand beside him, a falcon and a hound, for Yang Oolong is a great hunter. The falcon is the falcon of the gods, and the hound is the hound of the gods. When brute creatures gain possession of magic powers or demons oppressed men, he subdues them by means of the falcon and the hound. I swear to God, I swear to my Lord and Savior Usopp, that if I see parallels in what I just read with something in the future of One Piece, you had better come here and tell everyone to subscribe, and you had never ever disagree with me again in your life. I'm just saying. But yeah, that was a really good story. I picked this up for kind of inspiration for writing books and stuff. But yeah, really interesting stuff. How imaginative they are, and like kind of the fact that they were relatively their views on like scientific like the scientific viewpoint on like how the sun works and how nature works or whatever, that kind of lends itself to more outlandish creativity, which is really cool in its own way. You know, I feel like nowadays you have stories that kind of ignore science, but they don't do stuff like this. They don't have characters pick up mountains and crush them and crush suns with them. That's really cool. But yeah, you guys down to hear one more? Let's see if I can find another short one. Where the goal is less a page or more or less, just one page or so. Let's see. The Herd Boy and that's too short. How the 5 ancients became men. That sounds like some really important lore. All right. How the 5 ancients became men. Let's see. Oh. No. There's one called the Panther, and panthers are cool, but I think that we'll just have to skip on that one just because. All right, I was gonna read some of these other short ones that I saw, but like my heart is set on how the 5 ancients became men, so I'm going to read that one. All right. Before the earth was separated from the heavens, all there was a great ball of watery vapor called chaos. And at that time, the spirits of the 5 elemental powers took shape and became the 5 ancients. The first was called the Yellow Ancient, and he was the ruler of the earth. The second was called the Red Lord, and he was the ruler of fire. The third was called the Dark Lord, and he was the ruler of the water. The fourth was called the Wood Prince, and he was the ruler of the wood. Bitches call me the ruler of the wood, because, I don't know. The fifth was called the Mother of Metals, and ruled over them. These 5 ancients set all their primal spirit into motion, so that water and earth sank down, the heavens floated upward, and the earth grew firm in the depths. Then they allowed the waters to gather into rivers and seas, and hills and plains made their appearance. And so the heavens opened, and the earth was divided, and there was the sun. And there were sun, moon, and all the stars, wind, clouds, rain, and dew. The yellow ancient set earth's purest power spinning in a circle, and added the effect of water and fire thereto. Then there came forth grasses and trees, birds and beasts, and the tribes of the serpents, and insects, and fishes and turtles. The Wood Prince and Mother of Metals combined light and darkness, and thus created the human race as men and women. And thus the world gradually came to be. And there was one who was known as the true prince of the Jasper Castle. At that time, there was one who was known as the true prince of the Jasper Castle. He had acquired the art of sorcery through the cultivation of magic. The 5 ancients begged him to rule as the supreme god. He dwelt above the 33 heavens, and the Jasper Castle of white jade and golden gates was his. Before him stood the stewards of the 28 houses of the moon, and the gods of the thunders and the great bear, and in addition to the baneful gods whose influence was evil and deadly, they aided the true prince of the Jasper Castle to rule over the 1,000 tribes under the heavens, and to deal out life and death, fortune and misfortune. The Lord of Jasper Castle, now known as the Great God, the White Jade Ruler. The Lord of the Jasper Castle is now known as the Great God, the White Jade Ruler. The 5 ancients withdrew after they had done their work, and thereafter lived in quiet purity. The Red Lord dwells in the south as the god of fire. The Dark Lord dwells in the north as the mighty master of the somber polar skies. He lived in a castle of liquid crystal. In later ages, he sent Confucius down upon earth as a saint. Hence, this saint is known as the Son of Crystal. The Wood Prince dwells in the east. He is honored as the Green Lord, and he watches over the coming into being of all creatures. In him lies the power of spring, and he is the god of love. The Mother of Metals dwells in the west, by the Sea of Jasper, and also is known as the Queen Mother of the West. She leads the rounds of the fairies and watches over change and growth. The Yellow Ancient dwells in the middle. He is always going about in the world in order to save and to help those in any distress. The first time he came to earth he was the Yellow Lord who taught mankind all sorts of arts. In his later years, he fathomed the meaning of the world on the eternal mount and flew up to the radiant sun. Under the rule of the DSCHOU dynasty. I'm so sorry. He was born again as Lee Earl, and he was born his hair and beard, and when he was born his hair and beard were white, for which reason he was called Lao Tse, the old child. He wrote the book of Meaning and Life, and spread his teachings all through the world. He is honored as the head of Taoism. At the beginning of the reign of the Han Dynasty, he again appeared as the old man of the river, Ho Shang Gung. He spread the teachings of Tao abroad mightily, so from that time on, Taoism flourished greatly. these doctrines are known to this day as the teachings of the Yellow Ancient. And there is also a saying. The first Lao Tse was, then the heavens were. And this must mean that Lao Tse was the very same Yellow Ancient of primal days. Yeah, really interesting stuff. Like, once again, jeez. I'm going to have to go through and read all of these, definitely, at some point. 'Cause, yeah, my mind, like, so much ideas for inspiration and stuff, like, just kind of come to mind when I read stuff like this. But, yeah. I think this is probably the last part. Thanks for watching. I mean, thanks for listening. Like, I'm surprised you, like, really got this far. If you did, if you got to hear any of the Chinese myths and folktales, let me know, which one of the two were your favorite, and let me know which abandoned video sounds the most interesting. And thanks for watching. Happy April Fool's Day, and see you guys later.